Where this goes wrong is I have interacted with a number of folks who will do this, but they tend to lean on and err on the side of trusting folks on the internet, which, look, I understand the irony here, right?
Sure.
Who don't know their facts and circumstances.
Right.
This is the issue. In today's video, we're going to be looking at 5 example investors slash retirees who should never hire a financial advisor. Now, I have created, optimized, improved, and frankly scrapped hundreds of financial plans for dozens and dozens of retirees all over the country. And I can tell pretty quickly when I'm beginning to talk to someone about whether or not they'd be a good fit or they should hire a financial advisor. Now, and that's exactly why we're creating this video today. We're going to show you the 5 types of retirees slash investors who should avoid hiring a financial advisor or financial planner. Let's get right into it.
Okay. So that surprises me. Okay. You would think, I would think when you walk into most advisors' office, yeah, we can help you. Yeah, sit down. Would love to take your money and love to do something with you. Yeah. So I'm impressed.
Way that you said that, which I love, is it's so intentional. There's a couple distinctions I want to make here too. And financial advisor and financial planner, in my opinion, are different things. And we should probably have another video that distinguishes between those, which will be kind of fun.
That's true.
In the minds of consumers, typically financial advisors and financial planners are really the same thing, but in practice, we're quite a bit different, in my opinion.
Sure.
And so we're going to talk about 5 different sort of types or profiles of folks who, in my opinion, won't get a lot of benefit or value from working with an advisor.
Yeah. And the first one is, I see this all the time in my law office. People who just want to download a document and do it. It's just ink on paper. It's just, I can do this myself. I don't need a professional to help me do a will.
Even a professional who doesn't specialize.
Yeah. Yes, that's very true. A whole nother show there. But yeah, there's a lot of DIYers out there, and particularly with Google and the internet, I'm sure there's people out there who think they can do it themselves, and that's a concern, I'm sure.
It is. And I actually break this into 2 different ones as we go. And there's a little bit of a distinction here that I want to make. And so, I work with lots of DIY investors. I don't see a ton of DIY financial planners.
Sure.
So there's a little bit of an interesting distinction I want to make here. Look, I'm a DIY guy. You know this.
Sure.
I cut my own hair, do my own dental. That's and it explains a lot, right? I'm mostly joking, but there's some things that I think it makes sense to do yourself, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think where people get in trouble is they mistake competence in one area for competence in all areas. And look, the goal here is to help you to think about things a little bit differently. That's why we're having this conversation. And so I work with lots of DIY investors who want to manage their own investments or manage their own portfolios. I have one that really sticks out to me. He's very savvy. He actually manages investments for his family. They've done quite well over the years. And what he's really, really good at is the behavioral side of investing. He has a ton of clarity about what the purpose of the money is. He has a ton of clarity about what they own in the portfolio and why they own it, and they intend to own it for the long run. Behaviorally, he does not panic when market volatility happens. He has ice in his veins, truly, and there's a lot of reasons why that's the case.
Yeah.
And so, for him, having someone else manage investments for the bulk of their assets doesn't make sense. And that's fine. But what's different about him, and this is the distinction where I think DIYers sometimes shouldn't act as a DIY financial planner, is he has me to be able to see blind spots in other areas in the way that everything intersects in their plan.
Okay.
And DIY investors who think that all investing is financial planning and there's no additional stuff there.
Yeah.
Look, all of these boil down to, if you're going to hire and therefore pay a financial planner or a financial advisor and you don't take their advice or use their services, you're wasting money and you shouldn't hire them.
Yeah. You're wasting both of your time.
Yeah, that's really the goal. As a fiduciary, we can't, in my opinion, it is unethical and I won't work with someone who will not take my advice. Doesn't mean you have to do everything that I tell you to do.
Sure.
My job is to be a thinking partner for you. And if you're not going to let me do that and you're not going to listen when, we're accurate, why pay us?
Sure.
It's not in your best interest.
Yep. Good point.
So that's a fun one. The next one is someone who is just looking for the hot stock pick of the week.
Yeah.
This is one where, I think people confuse stockbrokers for financial advisors for financial planners. If you're looking for someone to just sell you something every time they talk to you and hype you up about some, micro cap stock, that's another look. Investing is important, but it's not the most important thing.
Yeah.
And having a couple wins is great, but doing that for 30 plus years is statistically extremely unlikely, number one. And number two, if they were so good at it, why would they be selling it to you? There are a handful of individuals who, we colloquially, these are like the hedge fund guys, right? Mm-hmm. There's a handful of them that have outperformed their benchmark over a meaningful period of time. Mm-hmm. And that's a handful. And probably the guy at the corner shop is not one of them. I know this is maybe hard for folks to hear, and the other variation of this is, maybe you made a great stock pick and you made, 50% on a short-term turnaround on a meme stock. Mm-hmm. Competency doesn't necessarily transfer.
Yep.
And, in the short term, odds of making a great pick are about 50-50. In the long run, doing that over a really long period of time, that's challenging. So, being able to do that in the long run consistently is extremely difficult. And if the people who have literally all the money in the world and all of the technology and all of the insight, if they best case, can do it 50% of the time, good luck.
Yeah.
That's okay. So that's not the value, in my opinion, that a financial planner brings, is picking individual stocks.
Well, like you said on the last guy, pick something that just works over time. Don't worry about it. Just set it and forget it, basically.
That's a big piece. So the next one is what I'm calling the Google whiz, or the internet whiz, or even the YouTube whiz. I'll say it. That's part of why we're on here.
Yeah, that's true.
This is a separate version of the DIY.
Sure.
Okay, in a slightly different way. And so, look, I really like working with people who are well researched, who are thoughtful about this, because I am.
Yeah.
If we're working together and I'm making a recommendation, I don't mind if you ask questions.
Yeah.
And because I've asked the same questions and I've answered them previously.
But yeah, the person who comes in who's done their research on Google, you can skip a lot of the introductions and get right to the meat of the subject. So yeah, we don't mind you we encourage you to do your research. It helps us save time and get to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where this goes wrong is I have interacted with a number of folks who will do this, but they tend to lean on and err on the side of trusting folks on the internet, which, look, I understand the irony here, right?
Sure.
Who don't know their facts and circumstances.
Right.
This is the issue. Mm-hmm. Is when you have an established relationship with a financial planner who should have a fiduciary obligation to you, getting advice from, whether it's a great blogger, whether it's a great, I fight this battle.
I know.
They don't know you. They don't know your facts and circumstances. And while they're giving general information, that doesn't mean that it's actionable. Mm-hmm. And so this is a situation where sometimes people, it's a one size fits all in the wrong way. And you need personalized advice, not general advice that you apply to your situation based on what you're guessing. If you're going to work with an advisor, let them understand you and help you weed through that.
Exactly.
That's a big challenge. And so do your research, get educated, but the role of a planning team should be to help you apply that knowledge to your situation. Knowledge is abundant. Data is abundant. We have no shortage of ability to access data.
Absolutely.
What people pay us for, really, this is the value of advisors. The value of advisors is to give you wisdom. which means how do you apply that data, that knowledge to your individual facts and circumstances. And that can only come with relationship and experience.
Sure.
Period. So the next one, this is a fun one. There's a lot of ways we could go with this one, but I'm going to try to thread the needle here
Okay.
on this one. This is the skeptic, the financial skeptic. And there's a couple variations of this, right? It can go conspiracy on kind of a lot of different fronts here.
Yeah.
And look, our philosophy is trust but verify.
Sure.
We don't want to just take everything at face value. But there is some reality to the fact that, the world that we live in, there are certain rules that we have to play by. And if the talking head on the TV is telling you that the world is, coming to an end, and the only way to survive that is to buy XYZ or to buy precious metals from their company. We want to rethink that a little bit before we begin to work with an advisor. And what that goes to is that you're probably not going to take their advice. That's
Sure.
the whole point.
Yeah. They come in preset on something.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm going to do. And we as advisors, it doesn't matter what we say. They're just going to do their thing.
Yeah. And so it's a form of confirmation bias,
Sure.
and our goal is we have biases, which is just another way of saying that we have a lens through which we view the world. But the lens through which we view the world is based on tons and tons of experience, tons and tons of real world scenarios, and watching those things play out over a long period of time. And so, it doesn't mean that we're perfect, but you should hire an advisor to help you see the world in a way that can benefit you and your decision making.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. And number 5, the person who just can't stop spending. They just don't save.
yeah.
You can't work with someone who has no money.
Yeah, this is one, I thought really hard about how we have this conversation, but it's on one hand, it's not too late to save, and it's not too late to start. But
Yeah.
but the point here is, if you're going to hire an advisor, which means that you would be paying them, and you're not willing to make the behavioral changes or the tactical changes that they're recommending, you're just bleeding more, And so the hardest part of this job and this business is behavioral change.
Sure. Absolutely.
And it's becoming more and more common to talk about that. It hasn't been for a long, long time. But if I find that, and there are situations where I will work with folks who need to adjust their behaviors, and they're
Sure.
willing to do it,
If they're willing to change.
and they will,
Yes.
and they will take action decisively and quickly, I can help them. I can be a force multiplier for them.
Right.
But folks who want me to tell them what to do, and then they don't do it, and then they want to talk about it again and again, you shouldn't be paying me. If you won't generally take the advice that we give, you shouldn't be paying us. And I know that's kind of a weird thing to say for someone who's in business to give advice, but it's very important to us that we work with people who are the right fit and that we can really, really help. It's good for everybody.
It is.
Now, we can only cover the criteria you should consider when hiring a financial advisor or a financial planner in a small amount of detail in this video, because we've got to move on and talk about some other stuff. But we're going to continue to break this down more in more detail in coming videos in a few weeks' time. So make sure that you don't miss out. Click the subscribe button now. If you feel like you're in a situation where you need a financial planner right now, my team and I are offering an entirely complimentary call where we'll help you one-on-one to determine A, if you truly need to work with a financial advisor or a financial planner, and B, if we might potentially be the right fit to work together. And if not, we'll help introduce you to someone who will be the right fit for free. We won't charge for that, because we really do care about making sure that people that need help get the help that they need. And we can't work with everyone.
Sure.
We're not the right fit for everyone, but the folks that we can help, I think we do great work for them. So to find out more, click the link below, and we look forward to talking to you soon.